Bartender's all like, yeah, crazy.
Are you Tony's stank?
Well, let's get more on the story from James Taylor. He teaches film and television studies at the University of Warwick in the UK. Welcome to the program. So Stan Lee, as we know, is the man behind The Incredible Hulk, X-Men and of course Spider-Man, all of which are now huge film franchises. Tell us more about the legacy that he leaves behind.
Well, he created co-created so many of some of the most iconic characters that we have in popular culture at the moment. And he also was so central to shaping the brand of Marvel Comics. You know, one of the biggest companies in fictional universes that we have that have grown out of comics from the 1960s into television and film, and now the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, of course, one of the biggest film franchises of all time, with multiple releases every year, and kind of brings in billions of dollars in revenue.
Yeah, let's look at that revenue, because the Hollywood blockbusters that were based on Stan Lee's creations are estimated to have grossed more than $20 billion at the box office, yet his net worth is often estimated at just between $50 to $80 million. Why didn't Stan Lee manage to reap the rewards from his creations?
I think in one sense, he reaped the rewards of the superheroes created from that period much better than other comics creators from that era. A lot of comics creators from that period, from the 40s, 50s and 60s, were very badly treated by the publishers and kind of lost any rights to their characters and ended up very, very poor. So Stan Lee, in a sense, has done better than, you know, most other comics creators from that period. But, you know, obviously his net worth in relation to the amount that Marvel is now worth is still, you know, it could, in theory, be a lot greater. I think there have also been stumbling blocks along the way. Marvel haven't always been as lucrative as they are now. They were massive in the 60s, they continued to be big in the 70s and 80s, but in 1996 they actually filed for bankruptcy. So around that time, it would have seemed odd for someone like Stan Lee to have been trying to kind of gain such a huge commanding role in a company that was filing for bankruptcy. So in that sense, they haven't always been kind of the most lucrative company, or they've had their down periods.
And as we know, Marvel was bought out by Disney for billions of dollars a few years ago. I'm wondering, have they been a good caretaker of that Marvel franchise? Do you think it has a good future ahead of it?
I think it does. I think the films continue to do very big business and increasingly big business. And whereas their main competitor, DC, are very much stumbling often in their attempts to replicate the cinematic universe that Marvel have created and always seem a bit uncertain which direction to take their films in, the Marvel film universe has a very clear direction. Its films continue to get bigger. They add more superheroes to them, and they have been increasingly making more money. The Avengers films have been making more and more money, and this is kind of, that whole model of franchising that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is spearheading in Hollywood is based on the model, this shared universe comic book model that Stan Lee was very integral to cultivating in Marvel.
James Taylor, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much again for your time.